Whenever you hear that MVP chat, you already know what's the deal, man. It's the most valuable podcast in the world. It's the Hitmen Podcast, episode 67. Chris checking in, MG in here. What's the word, bro? How you feeling?
That's crazy. I didn't even realize I was muted.
I thought I lost you. You good, bro? What's the word?
I always mute myself during the intro. You know what I mean? I want to let that shit rock out. It's one of the best intros I've ever heard. So I'll just let it rock out. You feel me?
I appreciate that. You got lost in the sauce real quick.
But we good, though. We good, man. We out here surviving winter. That's the best I can say.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Say it again, bro. We out here surviving. That's the only way to put it, for real, for real.
Man, bro, what's that show on TNT, bro, where they be on the train and shit, and it's like super cold outside.
Ice Truckers,
bro. No, it's like a newer show, but hey, it might as well be Ice Truckers after some stuff you see out here on the roads, bro.
Damn near, man. I don't know. I've been trying to weather through it. I'm tired of. I'm getting old, bro. I got to the point where I start paying the shorties to come and do the driveway as opposed to. You remember when you used to do that, like? Well, maybe not, because I ain't really do all that. I ain't shovel snow when I was a shorty. I'm like, man, it's cool. We'll figure it out. But my daddy blessed me, snow blower, all that. But what I pay him now because I ain't got the time. I ain't got the energy for it. I'm just not a cold person. Born and raised in Chicago, but I can't stand the cold. I hate that stigma. They always try to stick that with it. Oh, well, you're from Chicago. You can handle it. Man, I'm human. Damn all that. You feel me?
It's facts though, bro. There's only so much you can deal with. It's only so much, man. It's not even like it's horrible. It's almost just like it's an inconvenience sometimes.
Yeah, 1,000%. And then it get messy when it get warmer and it don't stick. Like you worry about your clothes, you worry about how your car gonna look. I don't know, man. In the meantime, something was bothering me, bro. So when you hear about the TV show now, the Pam and Tommy. They talking about Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, Sebastian Stan.
Yeah. It was confusing me because when I think about Pam and Tommy, I think about Tommy Strong and Pam James from Martin.
Automatically.
So I can't even have them conversations with folks at work. I can't even be on that for real because we talking two different languages. You feel me?
Pam and Tommy, we getting a reboot? Like what we doing?
Like that's what I got super excited. Oh damn, they finally got this thing together. Nope, not quite. Before we get started, we want y'all to know that we everywhere that podcasts live. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, all of that. You feel me? Hit us up in the mailbag, the Hitmen Podcast at gmail.com. Check us out on the YouTube, the videos in your phone right now. Want to let y'all know that we sponsored by Hulu, celebrating Black History always for Black History Month. Make sure y'all check us out on the socials at the Hitmen Podcast, at Labeled and Known, at Virtuoso Sport on Twitter. We got a ton to talk about, man. I don't really want to waste no time. I'm going to throw some softball so you can hit home runs. Let's get off into the BAM. You know where we're going with it. First things first, though. Let me start this off with a different intro. Shout out Pusha T, bro. Let's do it. We talking trade deadline. We recording this Wednesday night. Tomorrow is going to be the official trade deadline. And the move that we all waiting on is this James Harden movement, but we already had some stuff happen between now and then. CJ McCollum on the move. They finally broke that thing up between him and Dame Lillard out in Portland. CJ headed to New Orleans to team up with Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson whenever he hits the floor again, in exchange for Josh Hart as the head top piece for that trade, sending him out to Portland. I think it's a great move from New Orleans standpoint. I've been hearing a lot of people saying that Portland won the trade, and they're basically doing this to build around Dame. But I think New Orleans won the trade. CJ is a stabilizing force. He could have played with anybody. You heard him being tied to the Pacers, to the Knicks. There was a ton of interest there from different teams that wanted CJ to come in and kind of help them out. But it ended up being New Orleans. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with them. Are they trying to go to the playoffs this season? Like, what's your take on it, bro?
I think they're trying to make a run at the play-in. Because, I mean, they're sitting right there. They're not far outside of it. And this is all happening without Zion. Who knows what's going on with that at this point, because they've been real secretive about it. But I think New Orleans is looking at, to play Valanciunas and Brandon Ingram and think right now they add another piece. They could make a legitimate run for a play-in. And long term, I don't know how much this really helps them, considering CJ's injury history
Just
and the
gonna get
size
to
of his
that.
contract, but for the immediate future, they didn't give up much. I mean, Josh Hart hasn't really panned out the way most people thought he would. Same, like me, Walker Alexander, same thing. So,
He got moved too.
they,
He got swapped with We'll talk about another trade in a second, but he was on the move. He's
yeah,
not staying in Portland for too long.
yeah, and I mean for Portland, I mean they're still putting themselves right back in the same hole that they were in before. I like Anthony Simons, but now you're talking about him and Dame rocking the backcourt. You're still rolling out a undersized backcourt of two scorers who don't defend. So
CJ
not
McCollum,
really sure what they're gonna do.
CJ McCollum, the 2015-2016 Most Improved Player of the Year this season, averaging 21, 4, and 5. Like you said, you took the words out of my head. He had a significant injury earlier this year, which basically displaced him and Dame, which are their primary 1 and 2 scorers on the team, 1 and 2 playmakers on the team. I feel like with this trade, with this move, we've all but seen the last of Dame Lillard for the season. He's probably gonna shut it down after that abdominal injury. But like you said, Josh Hart didn't necessarily pan out to what he thought what we thought he was gonna be. Summer League MVP, and then they ended up winning the championship in that bubble season, partly due to him leaving in the big trade to land Anthony Davis from New Orleans in the first place. But beyond that, he's been productive, but not to the expectations of most. The other thing is, with Zion, he almost has to sign the extension, right? He's missed more games than he's played for New Orleans, and given the significant injuries he's had back-to-back seasons, it's hard to find that money anywhere else. Everybody keeps saying he's gonna go to the Knicks, but I don't think Worldwide West is gonna necessarily guarantee that money to Zion when we've only seen him in one full season in the 3/4 seasons that he's been in the league at this point.
Yeah, I think. Well, real quick with CJ, it gives them a ball handler because New Orleans has struggled with a point guard.
For sure.
Because Lonzo, they didn't know how to play Lonzo. Shout out to Stan Van Gundy for not knowing what he was doing with Lonzo. But they've been struggling with finding somebody who can run the offense. And CJ is not only a great scorer, but he's a really good facilitator and playmaker as well. So I always thought the offense in Portland, as far as on ball, should have ran through him while Dame played off ball. So CJ get a chance to do a lot more of that in New Orleans. Zion is interesting though because with his upside, I still think there's gonna be teams that would be willing to take that chance on him and pay him big money because of the upside. I think the only real issue is going to be cap space is drying up for a lot of teams already. I think you only got maybe 3 or 4 teams that got like over $20 million of cap space next summer, this upcoming summer. And then the season afterwards, I wouldn't expect too many teams to have a ton of cap space either. And I think that would be a bigger issue.
The cap just went up though. They said starting next year they're gonna have a little bit more ceiling room. The NBA announced it earlier this week. So, but to your point, you're right. A lot of them are working with huge numbers. I can't remember which team it is that's paying $74 million in luxury tax at the end of this season. I'm not sure if it's Brooklyn. I can't remember which one it is, but it's one of those things where like a bunch of teams are treading water, trying to stay close to the top, trying to staying in the middle of the pack, so that they can catch a team slipping that's looking to offload an all-star. Bradley Beal comes to mind in Washington, but obviously he shut it down for the season, having wrist surgery. That's a telltale sign as well. But getting off of this one, man. I think it's a major move by David Griffin. We've been saying for years, the past 3 or 4 years, they needed to break up these duos, whether it be Dame and CJ, whether it be John Wall and Brad Beal. We were even thinking about it, or at least me personally, I was even thinking about splitting up Klay and Steph for a long time, maybe because Minnesota wanted Klay Thompson. It was public knowledge they wanted Klay Thompson for a long time.
Yeah, he was gonna be involved in a Kevin Love deal before K Love got sent to Cleveland.
Exactly, bro. So it's one of those things where, at a certain point, even now with the Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid situation, these duos, like when they were going from super teams and 3 stars on a team to the 2 stars, Paul George and Kawhi as well. They fit in that bill as well. It's one of those things where those dominoes started to fall. It just seems like it's a little too late. I think that they're maybe a season and a half too late before moving CJ. I would have liked to see him on the Pacers or even on the Knicks. I don't really know what's to come with him being on New Orleans, but I definitely think it was a legitimate move in regards to trying to keep Zion and show him that we're making an attempt to build a team around you. The next trade I want to get off into is is actually important for one of the games that's going on right now. Domantas Sabonis being traded to probably the worst NBA organization in the Sacramento Kings. I'm pretty much convinced, they have no fucking idea what they're doing. And what would have been deemed the second blockbuster trade, because the Kings send potentially their best player to the Pacers, who already have much of the same thing. We're talking about Tyrese Halliburton being the big name in that trade between the Pacers and the Kings. Why the fuck would they do that?
Which one? Because both teams just don't make sense right now.
I live tweeted about this when it first happened. I said, so why would y'all, if you're the Kings, why would you not try to include or ask the Pacers to take Bagley, who has been all but screaming he wants out of Sacramento? Y'all been pulling him out of games. He didn't want to come in for a game. All you needed was a fresh coat of paint on him.
Flip him for Miles Turner. To be there.
Yeah, flip him for Miles Turner. Get Domas Sabonis in the deal, and then you trade the wrong guard. Everybody's been saying De'Aaron Fox and that huge contract needs to get up out of it, and then y'all trade Halliburton, who's probably going to be an All-NBA player in the next 5 to 10 years, and he's only been in the league a year and a half. What is he, 21, 22 years old?
Yep. Super efficient. Plays both ends of the ball.
Cap-friendly rookie deal still? Like, what's going on?
It's one of those head-scratching moves where it's like you can tell Sacramento just looked at it as we're getting another all-star, quote-unquote, with Sabonis, but I don't think they really understood the big picture where it's like, not only that, but like most teams didn't know Halliburton was even available. And they probably could have got a better deal somewhere else for a Halliburton.
Everybody pretty much assumed that he was untouchable. That's why they weren't even muddying the conversations with talks about Halliburton. And then the Pacers end up fleecing them. And then so they get Holiday, Sacramento.
Sacramento can't play games in Sacramento, right?
Huh?
He can't play games in Sacramento because he's not vaccinated.
Exactly, and they're playing tonight. As we're recording this, they're playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. Sabonis has 14 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. The Kings came out and made a statement, said that they were absolutely not trading Harrison Barnes. So y'all think that Harrison Barnes is more valuable than a Tyrese Halliburton on your squad?
Yeah. Look, the Sacramento Kings for like the last 4 years have overvalued Harrison Barnes so much
because he got carried to a ring.
You know how many times they've paid this man, and everybody looked up like he got paid what? Because what he got like at one point was it like 4 years, 20 million, 4 years, 100 mil, 120 mil or something from the Kings a couple years ago. Goodness. Like everybody and then he got the short-term deal a couple years after that from the Kings where it was like he was getting paid 20 plus a year. And I was just like, what?
So the Kings, they also get Jeremy Lamb in the deal. The Pacers end up getting more guards when they already have T.J. Warren. They already have Malcolm Brogdon. They flip Karis LeVert and transform. They flip Karis LeVert and transform him into what? Tyrese Halliburton and some picks when they already had all these backcourt players. You trade your major asset, your only all-star on the team, and then you don't trade Miles Turner. You don't get Marvin Bagley. You don't get any of the Kings' protected picks, which are probably going to end up being lottery picks again this year. And then the Kings turn around and get more guards after they already had Davion Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox.
And again, I said this when they drafted Davion Mitchell. Between Davion, Buddy Hield, and De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, Buddy Hield.
That is a super undersized backcourt. And now that they got rid of now that they got rid of Hield and and Halliburton. You got Fox and Mitchell in the backcourt. That backcourt is super small. And as much as I love Davion as a defender, it's only going to be so much he can do.
And neither one of them are great quote-unquote shooters. They're both streaky
and
at
that's
best.
The thing. They're one of the worst shooting teams in the league from the perimeter. And they got rid of their two best shooters.
You give up Halliburton, who's a 40+% 3-point shooter. And his second
like
year in the
42,
league.
43, yeah.
And the Pacers already have Chris Duarte. They already have T.J. Warren. They already have Malcolm Brogdon. So what? Who wins? Like what is the point in this?
Summer.
Huh?
Brogdon's as good as going this summer.
1,000%, 1,000,000%. Why am I standing for the T.J. Warren's probably gonna be right behind him? But my thing is like, y'all get rid of Karis LeVert, and then you get Buddy Hield, who's probably also leaving because he's been fodder for the Lakers. He's been like a like a piece of meat all summer. I mean, all season for teams, and he ends up on the Pacers, who are absolutely going nowhere. You feel what I'm saying?
The Buddy Hield thing would make sense if they were going to flip him before the trade deadline, right? Because he's a coveted asset for a lot of teams who want somebody who can, shoot the three ball and get buckets. And apparently the Pacers have no plans on trading him before the trade deadline. So, what's the point?
The one positive I will give Indiana, putting Tyrese Halliburton with a Rick Carlisle is probably going to do wonders for his career. It's probably going to make him mature and become a much better or closer to an all-NBA player much faster than if he'd have stayed in Sacramento. So I will give credit on that. But beyond that, you get rid of your two-time All-Star for a bunch of pieces. Like you turn $1 into 10 dimes. You know what I'm saying? Like what are we doing here?
Makes no sense. And honestly, I mean, the Pacers have needed to blow this thing up for a couple of years, and this looks like a desperation move that failed. Like they were so desperate to get rid of people that they just took lesser deals.
The Jazz got in on the trade deadline situation as well. Portland acquired Joe Ingles from Utah in a 3-team trade. This is one of those deals that I was talking about that included Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who initially got traded in that original deal that we were talking about. I believe he's on Utah now.
Yep.
I don't even know who the third team was in this trade. Do you?
Well, it turned into a 3-team trade essentially, but it was originally just basically the pieces that came from New Orleans to Portland in that CJ deal.
Right.
They're just headed to Utah basically in exchange for Ingles, pretty much.
Pistons still in the talks for trading your boy Jeremy Grant. They're saying now they want at least 2 picks for him. He was initially in talks to go to Sacramento. Obviously, they're not in the game anymore. But I could see him still being in the mix for the Knicks maybe, the Lakers maybe, Dallas maybe, if somebody still wanted to make a move.
Lakers ain't going to get him.
They were trying to dangle THT and Chris Dunn out there for the longest of time, but I don't think anything's going to come of that. The big trade that
keep hearing that nobody wants THT because it's a bad contract and he's overvalued apparently.
He's overvalued at this point. The big shoe that we're waiting on to drop right now is the James Harden to Philadelphia situation for Ben Simmons. Reports were coming out he had no intentions of leaving. Steve Nash came out and made a statement that he doesn't want to see any trades happening. Sean Marks said a bunch of times that Philly called asking about it and said, we're not trading James Harden. And then at 11:30 this afternoon, Bleacher Report put out a statement saying that James Harden is pushing and screaming in every way that he possibly can to get out of Brooklyn. After everybody said he's staying, Kevin Durant's like, nah, he said he's concentrating on winning. He's focused on winning. It comes out today, nah, he absolutely wants out. Like, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Katie forgot to leave out winning with what team?
You heard? We can never believe this stuff, and I think a lot of times you kind of just have to wait and see what happens, because even when you predict, even when you think you know what's about to happen, people will swerve you, and no short notice. So, it's down to the wire. I don't know if it's gonna happen. If I had to put my money on it, I would say it doesn't happen, just because I don't believe Daryl Morey's really trying to do Ben Simmons any favors, right?
No, and that trade package that we seen get put out there is wild.
They want Seth Curry. They want picks. Like, yo, what?
Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, Thibault, Ben Simmons, and a first-round pick for James Harden. Like, the Nets are literally trying to fix all of their depth issues with one by trading James Harden.
Yeah, man.
Which, look, I'm not surprised. And I said this a while ago. I think it was last year, but I'm not going to put the blame on Kyrie for this, but I'm kind of going to put the blame on Kyrie. Because
everything leads back to him. All trails lead back to Kyrie.
And the only reason I'm saying this is because the situation is funny. Like, you ever have you ever had like a homie and but you don't mess with one of his friends? Y'all just associates through y'all one friend.
Word.
That's like this
situation. I
situation.
definitely have had that situation.
Katie's the middleman, right? Where Katie, his best friend in the world is Kyrie, and he's really good friends with James, and he talked James into coming to Brooklyn, and James was like, yeah, sure, I'll go play with KD, even though Kyrie and Harden don't seem to be that cool, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like Harden's starting to get fed. Because why else in the world would he want to leave New York? Would he want to not play with Kevin Durant?
He's been a stabilizer.
We hear all of this stuff about he don't like living in Brooklyn and all of this other stuff, but you're playing with Kevin Durant.
He's been a stabilizing force for most of the season, with both of those players either being injured or not being cleared to play for COVID safety protocol reasons. And a lot of times, night in, night out, James Harden is the leader of that team. He's the heartbeat of that team, whether they win or lose. He's the primary ball handler. He's the main facilitator, the main playmaker, the leading scorer on that team. And he's now the biggest trade asset they have. You know what I'm saying? So,
and crazy thing is, as of this past weekend, because I had looked into it, Kyrie had only played 4 more games in a Nets uniform than Harden has. Now that number's obviously changed over the last few days, but it was, when I had looked at it, they both had played 9 playoff games in a Nets uniform. Harden had played 80 games regular season, and Kyrie had played 84 regular season, and Kyrie's been there twice as long, which tells you how often Kyrie is not there. Kyrie has literally played 93 games in a Nets uniform in 3+ seasons at this point.
Do you see Harden getting moved?
No, because not now, because I don't see Daryl Morey coming off of his demands. But during the off season, definitely.
Do you think that's going to be because the James Harden's value is going to go down? And also, we know that it's contingent upon them winning or being close to the championship picture at the end of the season as well. If they get a first-round exit, all bets are off. I feel like anybody's going to throw a block of government cheese at the Sixers or at the Nets and say, this is what you're going to get for him, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think a part of it, too, is, I think the Sixers are looking at how well Embiid's playing right now, how well Maxey, Seth Curry, they're looking at it as, if we get Harden, we got a shot to win to win it all. But so we can't give up too much to get him right now.
Right.
But after the season's over, it's a different story. But right now, with the way Embiid's playing, they're just looking at it as, we get Harden, it's over for the league, right? And then on the Nets side, they're looking at it as, well, we got Harden, and you're giving us Ben Simmons. You got to give us more than Ben Simmons.
A lot to talk about when it comes to that, too, because if Ben Simmons is the piece he's been but the word around the campfire is the biggest thing is his mental health. And, of course, it's exactly what the doctor ordered. You can't necessarily handle the fans or the criticism in Philadelphia, so what's the first thing you want to do? Go to the number 1 media capital on the planet, New York City, and play under those lights with arguably the best player on the planet, Kevin Durant. One of the top.
And he still would have to go play Philly multiple times a year.
In division. In the division, of course. So, they're
only like an hour drive, so you already know the Philly fans gonna be, hour, 2-hour drive.
Yeah, they coming to Barclays. Don't think
exactly.
Don't think that you kind of going to the far ends of the universe. Like, we'll never see you again. Like, y'all are up the street. Mm-hmm. But this will do wonders for him. You getting a 25-year-old former All-Star, former Defensive Player of the Year candidate if he comes back playing at that same level of basketball, right? He hasn't played all season. He's racked up over $19 million in fines, according to Forbes magazine as of today. and stands to lose more if he's not traded by the deadline come Thursday. You don't think he's getting moved. I don't think that he's getting moved either. I think
And I get it from Brooklyn's standpoint because, especially with Kyrie not being available all the time, you can't roll out Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons together with Ben Simmons as your secondary option.
Not at all. And then the other thing is, to be honest with you, even with the James Harden move going to Philly, I don't think that makes them imminent championship contenders, because the one thing that they kind of thrive on outside of Joel Embiid's monster games is their defense, between Thibault and Maxey being great perimeter defenders. James Harden ain't really known for playing defense at all.
And he would have to play without the ball in his hands.
He would have to play without the ball in his hands.
Maxey's untouchable.
The unquestioned ball handler, primary facilitator on that team, for sure. And that's not something that we're usually accustomed to seeing James Harden do, playing off ball. We haven't seen that since he was on the Thunder. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That seems far away. And speaking of the Thunder, we can't mention Westbrook. I mean, we can't mention Harden or KD without mentioning Russell Westbrook. Word around the campfire is the Lakers are in dire shape, desperate trying to make a move, and he seems to kind of be at the top of that list when it comes to moving players around. He didn't play tonight because of tightness. He made a comment after the press conference, or at the presser yesterday when they got blown out by Milwaukee, saying that he was just trying to keep LeBron and AD's spirits lifted because they kind of got their asses handed to him out at the crypto. But the other thing was, he said, I wish I could help him, and being out there on the floor, but that's not my call, quote unquote. So obviously the seeds are being sold. Like, it's time to make a move. Do you feel like there's any smoke with a smoke that's fire? You think he's gonna get moved before the trade deadline tomorrow?
No,
I don't.
I think I just seen something that said that the Lakers have kind of just resigned to their fate, that he wasn't getting moved right now.
Right.
Because the big issue is he's got the player option. So he's got the player option for next year, which I can't remember how much exactly it is, but it's a lot of money. I think it's like $47 million or something.
Oh, goodness.
Which makes it
stop you in your
even
tracks.
More difficult. So any team that would trade for him would probably be looking to buy him out, maybe. But at that point, is it really worth it? I mean, we heard the John Wall rumors forever, which that's the one that made the most sense just from a logistics standpoint. But I don't think Westbrook gets moved, at least not to the offseason at the earliest.
He's played on
I think they're stuck.
Way too many teams at this point. For almost a year, I was like, the NBA has completely changed to the point where MVPs get traded. MVPs never got traded like that. And now he's been on a world tour.
Fourth team in 4 years?
Man. You took the words out of my head. A couple of other trade-worthy notes before we get out of the NBA BAMs. Mentioned Jeremy Grant already. The Knicks are interested in the Pistons are interested in Mitchell Robinson, which seems to make, the most sense, Jeremy Grant for Mitchell Robinson, if they can put the money and the pieces together to make that happen. The Pistons, I don't know what the Mitchell Robinson move would do for them this season. Probably next to nothing, but just another young piece, another building block to try to bring them back into some type of contention, making them a competitive team. The Cavs picked up Karis LeVert to fortify that backcourt. That's probably one of the biggest moves, one of the most understated moves of the trade deadline. That almost but assures them a top 4 seed with his playing ability. He played tonight. I can actually pull up their numbers in the win against San Antonio. Karis LeVert off the bench had 11 points in his debut, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. I know you like the Cavaliers, but I know you definitely like this move. And I think this was the first one to hit, right?
Yeah, this one hit on Monday, or was it? No, it was like Sunday, because they played each other the same day.
Right.
But I love this move for the Cavaliers because Karis is still young. I mean, obviously he's had some injury history dating back to even college that he's had to deal with. But this gives you a young guy who's on a not bad contract. He's only making like $18 million a year. It's not bad.
Word.
You also get a guy who can close games. We've seen him have some crazy clutch performances over his career. And you also get a guy who's just a bigger body than a Colin Sexton. Like, I'm a huge supporter and fan of Colin Sexton, but he's playing out of position in Cleveland because they got him playing two guard, and he's only like 6'1". So now they can officially move on from Colin Sexton and then move Karis LeVert into that slot and pair him with Garland and Mobley and Jared Allen and Okoro and Laurie. They got some really nice young pieces, and really outside of Jared Allen and outside of Jared Allen and Karis LeVert, they should be in some decent cap situation. Right. They should be in a decent cap situation.
Word.
So I like it going forward for them. Again, for the Pacers, what are we doing here? They took Ricky Rubio's expiring contract and a couple of draft picks. Like, what are they doing?
But,
they gave him away for free.
In that New Orleans trade, back to CJ real quick, they didn't announce at first, but Larry Nance also was part of that trade. But it was announced that he's going to opt for knee surgery, so no timetable on when he's going to be seen. But that was one of the things that kind of was a tipping point for me that said, all right, New Orleans won this trade overall. But I don't know, man. I think the worst is over. I don't think that we see any more huge moves by this time tomorrow at the end of the trade deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if something happened, but I'm not expecting anything to happen at this point, especially after the dumbass moves that the Kings and Pacers make. Cause like that really blew me. I have no idea what's going on. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on for this. It just made me mad all over again. I'm ready to get out of this shit.
Did you see the Photoshop of the Kings logo that Kings Reddit put together, where they used the Kings logo and they spelled out fucking stupid with the letters?
Nah, I saw that.
They put the FU in front of it, and then they used the S at the end of Kings and put the rest of stupid at the end of it.
I didn't see that. I saw the sign that they put up today for the Kings pregame. They said DeMontis, welcome to hell.
Oh God.
Last thing before we get out of the NBA, the All-Star reserves were named late last week. Zach LaVine made it. Fred VanVleet made it on the East. It's escaping me who all made it on that side. Let me actually pull it up to make sure I can speak to it.
Well, Tatum made it as a reserve, but he got bumped up to the starter to replace KD.
Right, and then LaMelo Ball and DeJounte Murray ended up making it for the injured Kevin Durant.
Paige, can I finish?
And
Darius Garland made it.
I'm trying to figure out who did DeJounte Murray replace?
Draymond, because Draymond's going to be out with the calf issue.
Yep. I wonder if he's going to be doing commentating since he signed a TNT deal already.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So he'll essentially still be there. He just won't be playing.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so your reserves. Oh, they got the player pool up. Your reserves: Karl Anthony Towns, Fred VanVleet, Jason Tatum, Chris Paul, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Middleton. I don't know how the fuck he made it at all.
I mean, he's missed a lot of time.
Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler over Tyler Hero out in Miami,
Crazy.
And yeah, those are your reserves right there, man.
Crazy.
And James Harden round out the reserves, and then Rudy Gobert also made it as well. So Team LeBron.
Jared Allen got snubbed.
Jared Allen did get snubbed, 1,000,000%.
Third best hitter in the league this year. Behind Jokic and beating Jokic, Jared Allen's been the third best hitter.
The draft is going to be tomorrow on TNT. Are you satisfied with the picks, man? Did you, outside of Jared Allen, was there anybody else you felt should have made it that didn't make it? Somebody that got in that shouldn't have got in?
If we're gonna be honest, LaMelo making it over Miles Bridges. Yeah. I understand the reason LaMelo's in there, right? Because we want to see LaMelo play in that type of situation, but Miles Bridges has been the best player on that team this year.
Yeah. You won't get an argument out of me at all.
So him for sure. As far as like another legitimate snub, I think you could have made a legitimate case for Jaren Jackson from Memphis. Or Desmond Bain, considering how both have played this year. I mean, Memphis is lighting it up.
I think Jaylen Brown should have got it over Jason Tatum if they had to choose between one of the Celtics.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it, but I think that with Tatum being out for that many games, I think a large part of the Celtics' success up until this point had to do with Jaylen Brown, the Time Lord Robert Williams, and Marcus Smart kind of playing to keep the team lifted up at the best they could. But for the most part, I felt like Jaylen Brown should have got it, as well as, like you said already, Jared Allen should have made it.
Yeah, he could have made a case for Ty Maxey with the way he's played.
Yeah.
I mean, really? Yeah, I mean, that's probably about it. I mean, Siakam probably had an outside case. I mean, he's had some really good stretches, but that's really it, though.
That's really it. I think we're on the same page with that. The draft is tomorrow. KD against LeBron. The team's final rosters to be put out tomorrow night on TNT. Let's talk about the NFL. You can't see me right now, but I got my Ocho Cinco jersey on. We're going to keep it quick. We're going to keep it brief. I'm picking the Bengals in the upset, man. I know Matthew Stafford is your guy. I know he's your boy, but when it comes down to it, bro, I just think the old Matthew Stafford going to show up. It's taking him all season for him to show up. But I think he's going to do everything to kind of counteract what that defense is going to try to get Joe Burrow. I think the Bengals end up pulling off the upset, bro.
You know I'm rolling with the Rams.
I'm not mad at you.
I'm not rolling with the Rams because of Stafford. Obviously, I want Stafford to win, but that Bengals offensive line versus the Rams pass rush, it's gonna be filthy. And if they can get a consistent pass rush on Joe Burrow, I think the Rams win this one going away because Joe Burrow's accurate, but again, every quarterback has the same weakness, a pass rush. So
the pass rush, yeah.
The Chiefs let them off easy by barely. They got one sack on them. We seen what the Titans did to the Bengals, and it took some gutsy plays from Burrow in that defense, and the Jamar Chases of the world. But I don't think they'll be able to get away with that with the Rams. Not with Aaron Donald on the field versus the worst right tackle in football.
Close game or a blowout? What you think is going?
I'd put it somewhere 10 to 13 point win for the Rams.
Okay. Cool. Smooth.
I wouldn't be surprised though if the Bengals. I wouldn't be mad either. I don't hate the Bengals like I do some other teams, so I wouldn't be mad if the Bengals did end up winning.
Are you gonna be at any COVID friendly Super Bowl parties? You gonna be watching it at the crib? What's the situation for you?
At the rate that this stuff going around, ain't nothing COVID friendly at this point. But nah, bro, I'm chilling at the crib, man. The usual. You gotta order the food.
You heard?
Get your, depending on what you do, the wings, the pizza. I don't know what I probably go wings though. Wings are undefeated in my book.
We do it like Thanksgiving. You feel me? We do the mac and cheese, the sweet potato, the yams. We do it like
trouble.
that.
That's trouble right there.
Yeah, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all continue to support, rate, review, and subscribe. Hit us up in the mailbag. Check us out on the socials. Everything is the Hitmen Podcast. Let's get off into the quick hits real quick. I only got one, but it's a real interesting one. Todd Lawson, former North Carolina standout point guard, has been arrested after being involved in 3 incidents in Madrid, Spain. Witnesses at the airport in Madrid claim Lawson approached the boarding gate with a face mask, and when he was asked to put it on, he attacked 2 employees, punching one of them in the face. Damn. Lawson followed by starring in 2 more altercations on Saturday in a restaurant on the streets of Madrid. Police sources explain Lawson assaulted, threw water, and then threw a glass at a customer of an Italian restaurant, causing injuries where the customer received stitches. After the victim acknowledges that Todd Lawson was a well-known basketball player, the National Police put him on a search and capture, and shortly after, Lawson was arrested while he was involved in another altercation on the streets of Ibiza. What's up, dog?
The number one rule that they should give anybody who goes out of country: follow their rules.
But why you wait to get out of town? Why you wait to get all the way over there to start showing your ass? Like that's kind of OD. I'm trying to figure out if this story is even real, but like you just was on a fuckboy spree. Like, all right, I caused a scene over here. Let me get out of here and do some shit somewhere else. Like,
in Spain though. Like in one of the places that's like one of the biggest like vacation destinations. You wanted to turn up like that?
Man. The other thing
what's going on?
The other thing I want to get off into, wanted to send condolences. Quick rest in peace to Ezekiel Cross. I don't know if you're a Power fan, but we lost a good one this week. My dog just wanted to make it to the league, and everything kind of fell apart in a matter of 2.5 weeks. He found out he was 4 years older than he really was. I know that's I know it's gonna be super confusing when they put that headstone together. Found out the teacher that he was smoking. You feel me? That's like every high school or every college student's dream to have a baddie as a professor, knowing that you're knocking it down. But found out she was out of there too. It just was one of them things where Power kind of pushed the limit. So, but Daniel did a great job in that role, playing Ezekiel Cross. I think that was probably the most believable basketball player role on TV. I'm not sure if there's any other one other than. I don't even know if Drake and Degrassi was one. Like, he ended up in a wheelchair, but this was dope, though. I think Zeke did his thing, and I think that's the type of character where no matter where he goes, no matter what roles he's in, he's always going to be Zeke from Power when you see him in the street.
Oh, yeah. That means just like, I mean, we lost Zeke, but we got Tommy back. And it's like,
oh, yeah.
He always going to be Tommy. There's only two people in this world that's just always going to be Tommy, him and Jason David Frank. That's it.
Right. The Green Ranger.
No matter where you go, they Tommy. So
let's get off into the rundown. Rockstar Games came out and made the announcement they finally doing a new installment of GTA. Let's get off into it. I don't know how excited you are about that, but PS5 been needing some new games ever since they came out, so I can't wait for the new installment to come out.
We're waiting on God of War 2. Yeah, man, GTA, about time. We might have to wait another 5-6 years, but at least we know what's happening.
At least we know it's done got underway, done got started. Starting on February 10th, let's check it out. Nike and Acronym, they're having a pack release, a capsule release tomorrow. New Era's also releasing a Florida Marlins capsule for 1993 inaugural year of the team. Let's get off the shoes. February 11th, Nike got a Jordan 5 retro low for the ladies. Girls, their hoop colorway. Bear Brick and Intersect, they got some statues coming out for anybody that's into that. February 12th, this weekend, the Jordan 5 Retro Racer Blue is dropping. You got a Jordan High OG Dark Marine Blue, and GS is coming out on the 15th, the day after Valentine's Day. I don't know if you was into it or you heard about it, but word around the campfire is we supposed to got the playoff 12, but they got pushed back to March, and instead they replaced it with those Jordan 3 Cardinal Red. I'm not really a big fan of them. They kind of look like Washington Commander colorway. Can't say the old name. They just came out with the new name, the Washington Commanders. But that's the colorway that it looks like. Anyway, they put
threes ain't my thing.
I love threes, but I ain't into that colorway though. I was really looking forward to the playoff 12. That's one of the only
ones I have. Fours of that color. I'm with it.
You big on fours and threes?
Yeah. Oh, I love the fours.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
That's all I got. I don't know if you had anything that you was waiting on coming out this week, but that's all I got for the rundown.
Nah, I mean, obviously, I'm still waiting on Reebok to drop them answers, them eagle color answers.
We need some answers. You
I
feel
need
me?
the Tuttle joints, bro.
We need them for sure. What's the hold up? What's going on, man?
I missed out on the question lows they had dropped that day. The black multicolored joints, but I got the kamikazes they dropped. The San Antonio All-Star kamikazes they dropped.
We got a contest that's coming up at the end of Black History Month. We're gonna start getting the details out about it next week. We got a big episode. We got a big guest coming on next week as well. But something for the sneakerheads. We're going to put a contest in place. We want to see the pictures. We want to see what y'all closets look like. We want to see what type of grails y'all holding on to. So keep it locked. Make sure y'all hit us up in the mailbag, the Hitmen Podcast at gmail.com, to stay in tune for details of what we got coming up. You feel me? Let's get off into the game show, big dog. Quick question for you. I'm probably going to cut the music short. I need you to tell me in 30 seconds or less who was the last defensive player to win the Super Bowl MVP. You got 30 seconds, and your time is going to start now.
Von Miller.
You didn't even need it. That's what I'm talking about, my dog.
And that's the first one I got right.
Von Miller potentially has a chance to be, I think, the only player in NFL history to win 2 NFL Super Bowl MVPs as a defensive player this weekend. If he can win it, he won it back in 2016 at Super Bowl 50.
I hope he win. I hope he played good enough to win it. Shoot, I'll take it.
Yeah, that'd be dope, right? Only the second team to potentially win a Super Bowl at their home stadium, and then he's probably the first time winner of the Super Bowl MVP. I got it going to Joe Burrow if the Bengals do win it. I'm sure
Joe
you got
Shiesty mean with it though. I gotta give him his credit. He mean with it.
You got it. I think he got a real chance to do it. But if the Rams win it, I think that the odds-on favorite to win the MVP is gonna be Matthew Stafford.
Stafford or Donald, yeah.
Stafford or Donald, straight
Two
up.
biggest names.
Shout-outs. Where you going this week, bro?
Man, this week I obviously gotta roll with the Lakers, who just lost to the Blazers a couple minutes ago.
I had them in my parlay, man. Trash ass dude. I'm not putting no more money on the Lakers, dog. No more money on the Lakers this year. How did Blazers get fleeced and y'all still lose to them, bro?
Bruh, they killing me, bro. But no, man, I gotta give a shout out to Abbott Elementary, bro. That has been keeping me entertained as hell these last few weeks, bro.
Let me do the round of applause. Shout out to Abbott Elementary, man. I'm on Righteous Gemstones right now, but I'm gonna tap into Abbott right after that.
Yeah, and then like I said, man, Joe, I gotta give a shout out to my man Tommy Egan. He started off the season with a bang.
Straight up.
And outside of that, man, just shout out to everybody out there, man, just getting up every day and just doing what they got to do to make it in this world.
1,000,000%. My first shout out goes out to Snoopy D-O-double-G. Came out today. Snoop Dogg is the brand new owner of Death Row Records. According to Hip Hop DX, Hasbro Toy Company purchased Monarch Music Group in 2019 for $4 billion. And in that juncture, in that merger, they inadvertently became the new owners of Death Row Records. In April 2021, Hasbro announced it had sold Monarch Records to Blackstone for $385 million in cash. Needless to say, the legendary hip-hop entity talking about Snoop Dogg was not cheap. Quote, he says, "I'm thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which has immense untapped future value." Snoop Dogg told, "It feels good to have ownership of the label I was once part of. At the beginning of my career as one of the founding members, this is an extremely meaningful moment for me." Low.
That's crazy too, because he got a high position at Def Jam now too. So I mean, that is some crazy shit.
That's a bet, man. Second shout out goes out to Paige Beckles. She ended up using her newly minted NIL deal to buy all of her teammates brand new kicks. That's a true team player for you. I think that was dope. So shout out to Paige for that. Shout out to Nike. Word came out that they infused $75 million into the WNBA. That's probably going to give them the boost they need in terms of taking another step in the right direction in terms of putting them on mainstream television and getting those contract disparagements between men and women a little bit closer. So shout out to Nike for doing that. Shout out to Leslie Jones. According to Mike Singleton on Twitter, he put Leslie Jones reveals NBC, which owns broadcast rights of the Winter Olympics, has asked her to stop live tweeting the Olympic Games, something that she's done for the past several Olympics. This is outrageous. Her commentary is the most attention that these Olympics are getting, as the TV ratings have been in the dumpster. So shout out for bringing that to our attention during Black History Month. I got a story that I got to tell you offline about Leslie Jones. That's all I got to say about it. I got to tell you about it later. It's funny. Last shout out to Coach Pop. Greg Popovich became the first coach to hit 1,500 wins as an NBA head coach. Big milestone, so shout out to him. It's probably gonna be his last season. I wouldn't be surprised if it was his last season. But shout out to Coach Pop in that regard. No question, Hall of Fame.
Still insane.
That's an institution. He's an institution of greatness when it comes to coaching in the NBA.
That's insane.
That's OD, right?
That's what happens when you go. What did he go? Like 18 years without losing less than 50. I mean, without winning less than 50 when Duncan was there and them. Like,
probably hard to be seen again. You feel me?
Yeah. Especially in today's league.
Good pod, quick pod. Want to get y'all up out of here. Want to give it, you know what I'm saying, some breathing room so y'all can enjoy the game this weekend. Enjoy it with your families. Enjoy it safely. Do remember, rate, review, and subscribe. Rate, review, and subscribe. Stupid. We everywhere that podcasts live. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, all of that. Hit us up on the YouTube. It's in the videos in your phone right now. Make sure you check us out in the mailbag, the Hitmen Podcast at gmail.com. Check us out on the socials. We want to see them kick picks. We also want to get y'all picks for the Super Bowl and who you think is going to hit in the NBA trade deadline tomorrow. It's at Hitmen Podcast, at Labeled and Known. Check out my brother MG at Virtuoso Sports, only on BlitzSportsNetwork.com. Don't ever forget in your life, man.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to acknowledge it.
All right, it was a miracle. Can we go now?
67, we gone. Holla.
Center.